The generation gap has always been a pretty good source of comedy, and while some films use it to greater effect than others, the clash between young and old is something that audiences always respond to. It also helps when you actually know what you're doing. Robert De Niro is one of my favorite actors, and with films like The Intern, that's kind of the reason why, as in all the films I've seen him in, he has always turned in a good performance. His character in this film is both classy and cool, but receptive and approachable. There's nuances to his performance as this character, like down to the facial expressions, mannerisms, just those kind of little subtle details that I don't think you would see if you had any other actor really playing that role. When it comes to his co-star Anne Hathaway, she's no slouch either, as she's able to hold her own and does a really good job of playing the frazzled owner of a startup company who's trying their very best to not have their life completely fall apart. As for the rest of the cast, they managed to bring in some pretty good character actors, and there were some issues I did have with some of their performances, but I'm willing to attribute some of those issues more to the writing than I am to the actors themselves, as there were a few line choices here and there that did cause me to tilt my head a little bit. While the comedy is mostly entertaining, the jokes that I turned my head at more or less felt like fluff. You could tell that they had some of the more stronger jokes and the kind of stuff they would put in the trailers, and they almost kind of have to have these other jokes that kind of tap dance around it just to pad out the scene. Aside from that, the film strikes a nice balance between drama and comedy, as it gives us a nice slice of life that pokes fun at some of the changes society has had over the past few years. Now, I say pokes fun because with this comedy, unlike other comedies that have tried this sort of thing that I've seen, the comedy here is not mean-spirited. It's kind of pointing out humorous observations, but it's not trying to criticize the older generation for their, old traditional ways, nor is it trying to criticize the younger generation for kind of the more informal attitude that it's taken towards the workplace. It strikes a nice balance where it's saying, hey, these things are kind of funny things that society does now, but it's not trying to be very critical or mean-spirited, which is kind of what I like about it. I mean, a lot of people think, oh yeah, but if it's too safe, then it's not trying too hard, but here, I think it works, because it's not trying to criticize one side or the other, it's just saying, here's how weird our world is now. This film is a lot like As Good As It Gets, where it's a simple comedy that's well written, well acted, but is not really meant to reinvent the wheel or be really groundbreaking or ground-changing or genre-defining. It's just a nice mid-range film that's simply telling an entertaining story with good actors. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not something that you either have to really pay attention to because it's high art, but it's not the kind of stupid schlocky comedies that expect you to turn your brain off. It has the best of both worlds where it's entertaining to watch. With that said, this isn't the kind of film that you really need to rush out to theaters to see, as you could enjoy this film just as easily by watching it on Netflix or renting it from Redbox. It's that kind of movie that's just a mid-range picture meant to be entertaining, but not really much else. It's not adding anything new, it's not catering to the lowest common denominator, it's just a well-written comedy that's a nice welcome relief compared to some of the other films that usually come out around this time of year. This is the kind of movie that you're supposed to be seeing coming out between the summer movie season and the holidays. A nice mid-range picture that is just well-written and well-acted and is telling a good story. All of that said, The Intern gets a 4.5 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.